Welcome to the Veterinary Financial Podcast, where we discuss financial freedom and professional success. I'm Meredith Jones, a veterinarian and financial planner for vets.
And I'm Joe Warner, also a financial planner for vets.
Today, we're going to talk about 5 ways to lower your AGI, or adjusted gross income. This is good timing because we're in the middle of tax season. Lowering your adjusted gross income is something that a lot of vets are looking at doing either for this tax season or for future tax seasons. And reason you would want to do that would be to save money on taxes. And if you're on an income-driven repayment plan for your student loans, it can also help you reduce future student loan payments. So let's jump right in.
All right. The first method would be saving for retirement. I love this because it's kind of a double win because you're saving for retirement and then you're also getting the benefits of a lower AGI. There are a couple of things to think about in saving for retirement and thinking about how that might affect your adjusted gross income. And the main thing is, are your contributions pre-tax or are they Roth? So anytime you make a pre-tax contribution to a retirement plan, that would help lower your adjusted gross income, whereas Roth would not have the same effect. That could be across different types of retirement plans that might be available to you. And those plans might depend on what type of company you work for and your situation specifically. But some really common ones would be like a 401k. And so if your clinic that you work for offers a 401k plan, then that would be a really easy way to benefit from contributions into retirement and also getting that AGI benefit of those lowering your adjusted gross income. Anytime you do contribute to a traditional 401k, that is kind of a dollar for dollar effect in lowering your adjusted gross income. That is probably one of the easiest methods, and that's available to most veterinarians. You might also have another type of plan available to you as well. That could be like a 403b, for example, if you're in like academia or some government jobs. It might not just be a 401k. There could be some other options as well.
What if you're self-employed? The most common type of self-employed vet that we work with is a relief vet who has 1099 income. So if you're self-employed, you could also look at opening a solo 401k. If you open a solo 401k, you have 2 different sides that you can contribute to. You can contribute on the employee side, where you have up to $24,500 that can be contributed to the account. If you do have more than one 401k, so let's say you're part-time working for a clinic and you're W-2, and you also have some self-employed income where you're 1099, then there's a shared annual limit across any 401ks that you have. And so you would have that $24,500 as the total that you could contribute, and $24,500 is the number you can contribute in 2026. Solo 401k is a really good option. The other side is the employer side. And so at tax time, your tax pro can calculate for you a certain percentage of your net self-employment income where you could make a contribution on the employer side. If you do multiple relief shifts a year, something to keep in mind is if you are an employee at a clinic and you've maxed out your 401k at your main job, you can still make employer contributions to a solo 401k based on your 1099 income. So that's something to keep in mind for vets who perhaps have a regular full-time job and then they also work relief on the side in addition to that. I haven't mentioned the SEP IRA yet, and so that's another way that you can contribute to retirement as a self-employed individual. That one you can only make employer contributions. You can't make employee contributions, and so you really don't know until tax time how much you can contribute to that account per year, but that's another option as well.
All right. The next type of account would be a health savings account, which commonly we'll refer to as an HSA. It's an account where you can save for different health expenses that you might have in the future. This is personally one of my favorite types of accounts to talk about because it is a really powerful account that obviously has different tax benefits like lowering your adjusted gross income, but also it grows tax-free and you can withdraw out of that account tax-free for qualified medical expenses. And so it's a really powerful account when you think about all those different factors. There are some different requirements to be eligible for an HSA account. Some of those are you have to be in a high deductible health plan. What defines a high deductible health plan would require it to have a certain deductible, also like a maximum out of pocket amounts, plus a few other requirements in order to be eligible for the HSA accounts. But those are kind of like the primary ones. And then if you are eligible for it, a lot of times your employer might actually have an option for you to contribute right through your paycheck into that account. If it's not deducted from your paycheck, you can still contribute to that account and then just get that deduction at the time that you do your taxes. Just a really powerful account. This actually is not a use it or lose it account either, like some other types of health accounts are. With an HSA account, that stays with you. Even if you were to switch jobs or do anything else with your career, that account is going to stay with you. You actually can even reimburse yourself in the future for medical expenses that you have if you're saving your receipts for that, which is another really powerful effect of the HSA accounts. If you get to the point where you are reaching retirement age and you still have funds in your HSA accounts because it's just growing over time, you can actually use HSA funds in retirement as kind of a retirement account for non-medical expenses as well. That's just another really cool benefit of those. You can probably tell that I really enjoy these accounts and I really like them. It's a really good account to use, especially when you're talking about the benefits on that triple tax benefit of lowering your adjusted gross income and then the money in there growing tax-free and not paying taxes on the withdrawal of those as well.
Yeah, Joe loves HSAs, so he's getting excited over here. And one of the things that I find with some of the new clients that we work with is that maybe they have several $1,000s in an HSA, but they don't have it invested yet. And so that's something to keep in mind, like Joe said, is that you can invest the money that's in that account. Usually there's some sort of threshold of how much you have to have in cash, like maybe it's $3,000 and then everything else can be invested. If you're not sure if your money in your HSA is being invested, that would be something to certainly check into and see if it's something that you can grow and it will grow tax-free, which is awesome. Okay, so an HSA is available to you if you have a high deductible health plan. And so what if you don't? What if you don't have a high deductible health plan and you just have a regular health insurance plan? In that case, you may have access to a healthcare FSA, which is a flexible spending account that is available to a lot of people who have a regular health insurance plan. So it's not the same as an HSA. It can be used for some things that you would consider to be like over-the-counter healthcare expenses. It can also be used for some vision or dental expenses that you may otherwise be spending money out of pocket. A few different things that it can be used for. It can also be used for copays, things like that. And the FSA does have use it or lose it rules. And so you would want to make sure that you were not contributing more than what you would actually use in a year or so. And I say a year or so because there is usually, depending on the plan, but usually there's some limited amount that you could roll over from one year to the next, but it's not going to be the full maximum amount of that plan. So that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and very similar to the FSA, but maybe for a different use case, is the Dependent Care Flexible Spending Account. This could be a really powerful account for anyone that has child or daycare expenses that they want to save for and also get that benefit for a lower adjusted gross income.
If you're married filing separately for student loan purposes, you may not be able to use the full benefit, especially if it's only available to one spouse through their workplace. So definitely check with your tax professional if you have any questions about eligibility or anything related to that. But that's another way to reduce adjusted gross income. All right. And that brings us to our last way to lower your adjusted gross income, which is qualified business expenses for those of you that would be relevant to. Anything that reduces your Schedule C net profit lowers your AGI. So an example of that would be like a self-employed relief vet. And so let's say they have expenses that are related to work that they have been paying out of pocket for. So that would be like continuing education expenses, the travel for the CE, licensing expenses, memberships, things like your DEA license, your professional liability insurance, if it's relevant to you, possibly a home office and mileage expenses, things that you're buying for work out of pocket like scrubs. Any of those things would be potential write-offs. So definitely confirm with your tax professional. If you are doing some relief work and you're also an employee, then of course anything that is reimbursed by your employer would not be something that you could write off. But for folks who have things that they're paying for out of pocket, then certainly wouldn't want to leave those things out when you are talking with your tax professional.
Lowering your AGI is obviously great because you get to have less taxes. And who doesn't love less taxes? Some of the other benefits, like Meredith had mentioned at the beginning, is for those of you that have student loans, that lower AGI also helps you save on your student loan payments, which is another huge benefit. Just to kind of recap some of the most common ones that many of you will have available to you right now would be looking back at your 401k or pre-tax retirement plan that is offered just through your clinic or some of the other options that we had mentioned, or even looking at one of the other plans around saving for health expenses like a health savings account in the HSA. Those are some really good ways to kind of look and see what you might be able to do right now to start saving for your taxes for this year going forward.
And these are the types of things that we help our financial planning clients with all the time. Our mission is to help you take control of your finances and help you build a life that you love. If you'd like to see how financial planning can help support your goals, visit allvetfinancial.com and click the Book Now button to schedule a free intro call. And until next time, take care and continue your path to financial success. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered individualized financial advice. If a specific investment is mentioned, it should not be considered a recommendation or endorsement to buy or sell the investment. All investments involve risk. Past performance does not guarantee future results. You are encouraged to seek the advice of a financial professional before implementing any investment strategies discussed. Yay, compliance!